When I entered the second year of being the kept woman of Manhattan's elite, Mr. Vincent Sinclair, I found out I was pregnant. When his family learned about it, they offered me $30 million to disappear. I took the money and fled overnight with the child in my belly. Rumor had it that Mr. Sinclair, usually the epitome of calm and control, lost his mind and vowed to turn the city upside down to find me. 4 years later, on my way to pick up my daughter from school, he caught me. Facing his icy gaze, I braced myself and blurted out a lie, "I'm married. Please respect my boundaries." To my surprise, he yanked me into his arms, his voice sharp and menacing. "How did you know I have a thing for married women?" By the second year of being Vincent Sinclair's kept woman, I realized I was pregnant. Before I could even share the news with him, his mother, Lucy, confronted me first. It was in a cafe. The woman sitting across from me was impeccably dressed, her makeup flawless, exuding an aura of sophistication that made it hard to believe she was nearing 50. She scrutinized me from head to toe with a look of disdain, her tone dripping with arrogance. "So, you're the rumored Teresa, the one my son's been keeping in that villa? You're not much to look at, are you?" Feeling awkward, I nodded stiffly. Even though my arrangement with Vincent was an open secret among the upper class, hearing it bluntly stated by his mother still stung. Lucy took out a black card from her handbag and placed it on the table, her voice casual but commanding. "Name your price. How much will it take for you to leave my son?" I blinked, remaining silent. It wasn't the insult that left me speechless. I was quickly calculating in my mind. Should I stick with Vincent, or would taking this black card offer me a better deal? Lucy, seeing my prolonged silence, smirked mockingly. "Teresa, don't tell me you're going to claim it's true love between you and Vincent, and that money can't measure your feelings?" She stirred her coffee leisurely and continued, as if delivering a final blow. "Oh, and I suppose you haven't heard. Vincent's childhood sweetheart, Fiona, returned to the country a few days ago. He's been canceling his business appointments just to spend time with her. Our families are very well matched, and unless something unexpected happens, Vincent and Fiona's marriage is practically set in stone." My heart sank when I heard her words. Vincent had indeed been unusually busy these days, so much so that I hadn't seen him at all. Even the messages I sent him were met with perfunctory replies. Lucy must have noticed my hesitation because she pulled out her phone and called Vincent right in front of me. The call was answered almost instantly, and Vincent's cool, steady voice came through. "Mom?" Lucy deliberately asked. "Son, are you still out shopping with Fiona?" Vincent responded nonchalantly, "Yes." Then, a sweet, feminine voice chimed in from the other end. "Vincent, can you carry this bag for me? I'm so tired after walking all day." I clenched my fists tightly. That's it. Vincent's childhood sweetheart was back, and my cushy, well-paying job was about to come to an end. Lucy, seemingly oblivious to my subtle reaction, continued chatting with Vincent for a moment before ending the call, looking quite pleased with herself. She turned her gaze back to me, observing my silence, then pushed the black card toward me with an uncompromising tone. "Miss Teresa, you're a smart woman. I trust you've made up your mind. Take it. 30 million is enough for you to live comfortably for the rest of your life." "What? 30 million? Holding the black card in my hand, I felt my previously shattered heart stir back to life. The tears I had been summoning instantly evaporated. For context, Vincent only gave me $500,000 a month. And now his mother was offering 30 million in one go? Damn. If I'd known his mom was this generous, I wouldn't have bothered being his mistress. I would have just prayed every day for his childhood sweetheart to come back sooner. Vincent and I had met by chance 2 years ago. Mike had dragged me to a bar that night. Unbeknownst to me, he had spiked my drink, intending to send me to an older client's bed. By the time I realized something was wrong, heat was already spreading through my body. With what little rationality I had left, I stumbled into a private lounge and pushed open the door. Inside, I saw a man reclining with his eyes closed, a tall, strikingly handsome man. So, naturally, I pounced on him. Growing up, I'd always been physically strong. I could take down 3 men at once if needed, and Vincent, clearly someone used to a life of luxury, was no match for me. By the time my head cleared, he was already passed out on the couch. Feeling guilty, I left him $100 before heading to the door. But halfway there, I reconsidered. $100 could buy me several good meals. So I turned back, swapped the 100 for a 50, and left that instead. Consider it a tip. After all, his performance wasn't exactly stellar. I thought that was the end of it. But the next day, I was suddenly abducted by a group of men in black and dragged to a villa. Seated on the sofa was none other than Vincent himself. He grabbed my chin. His expression detached and his voice as cold as ice, impressive. "You're the first woman to treat me like this." Oh. My God. If I'd known he was Manhattan's elite Mr. Vincent Sinclair, I wouldn't have dared touch him, even if you gave me 10 lifetimes of courage. Sitting on the floor, I trembled as I stammered out an apology. "I'm sorry. It was my fault, my reckless, shameless, and utterly despicable fault to sully the virtuous and immaculate Mr. Sinclair. Please, just think of it as being bitten by a stray dog." But it didn't end there. Vincent pulled out the crumpled $50 bill I had left behind, holding it between his fingers as he asked icily, "Teresa, was this meant to insult me?" Desperate, I opened all my bank accounts and showed him the pitiful balances, one by one. Tears welling up in my eyes, I pleaded. "This $50 is a tenth of my entire net worth. Please, Mr. Sinclair, have mercy and spare me." After hearing my response, Vincent's expression softened noticeably. But then he sneered, "So poor." I was furious, but I didn't dare show it. He stared at me for a long time, his beautiful eyes unblinking. Then, out of nowhere, he said, "Come to think of it, I do need a woman. You're suitable." Oh. Dear God. What kind of cliched CEO line was that? I wanted to roll my eyes so badly. But considering that I was a fresh college graduate desperate for a job, my mouth moved faster than my brain. "So, boss, what's the pay for this job?" Vincent gave me a faint, inscrutable smile. Retracting his gaze, he said in a lazy tone, $500,000 a month. Room and board included. Faced with such an irresistible offer, I hesitated for about 1 second before agreeing. And that was how I became Vincent's kept woman, a golden caged canary in his gilded cage. That night, after my negotiation with Lucy, I returned to the villa. Just as I slipped into my robe, a warm body pressed up behind me. Vincent had come back. He smelled faintly of perfume, the kind that was distinctly feminine. I didn't need to guess whose it was. I tried to push him away. But he didn't budge. Vincent leaned in, his kisses trailing from the nape of my neck and gradually moving downward. The air between us grew heated. Panicking at the thought of the baby inside me, I quickly stopped him. He paused, his dark eyes narrowing. To deflect his suspicion, I pointed to the faint shadows under his eyes and changed the subject. "Vincent, you must be so tired lately, right?" Vincent rested his chin on my shoulder. His voice hoarse yet tinged with exhaustion. "Yeah, it's been a hectic few days. I haven't had much time for you. Bear with me. Things will ease up soon." I laughed coldly in my mind. "Oh, you're busy, all right, busy shopping with your first love. By the way, does she know you've got a mistress on the side?" Men. They only stop lying when they're 6 feet under. Despite cursing him silently 1,000 times, I outwardly wrapped my arms around his and gave him a look of concern. "Go take a shower and get some rest. I'm worried about your health if you don't get enough sleep." Vincent's gaze darkened. "How about you join me in the shower?" My ears turned red. This shameless man. All he ever does is try to seduce me. After much effort, I finally coaxed Vincent into the bathroom. Then, I rushed to the kitchen and prepared a glass of water, adding a few sleeping pills to it. Lucy wasn't taking any chances. She had booked me a flight for the early hours of the morning and warned me to stay out of the country for 3 years. She didn't want me interfering with Vincent and his first love's happy reunion. Time was running out. I needed to leave while Vincent was asleep. Vincent came out of the bathroom, drying his hair with a towel. I quickly put on my best obedient smile and handed him the glass of water. He didn't take it right away, though. Instead, he just stared at me. His piercing gaze made my heart race. Had he seen through my plan? No, that was impossible. Just as I was on the verge of panicking, Vincent leisurely accepted the water, a faint smile tugging at his lips. Teresa. Your lower belly looks rounder lately. Don't tell me, you're pregnant? His words were casual, but they hit me like a lightning bolt. I lunged forward, playfully hitting his chest and pouting. That's called fullness, okay? Get it right, you jerk. I can't stand you. Now drink that water before you say another word. Meanwhile, my hand instinctively rested on my abdomen. Baby. Don't worry. Mommy will protect you with everything I have. No one can take away your right to be born. Vincent drank the water in one gulp. Then, he pulled me into his arms and held me tightly from behind. His warm breath brushed against my ear as he murmured, Teresa, I feel like you're hiding something from me. I didn't respond, afraid I'd burst out laughing. Looks like men have a sixth sense too. That's right, Mr. Sinclair. Your little caged canary is about to fly the coop. Not long after, his breathing slowed and evened out. Once I was sure Vincent was sound asleep, I carefully wriggled out of his embrace and retrieved the suitcase ID hidden behind the curtains. I paused for one last look at him. Even in sleep, he was heartbreakingly handsome. Too bad we were destined to live in separate worlds, bound only by money and convenience. Goodbye, Mr. Sinclair. For years later, I was back. This time, I vowed to reclaim everything that was mine. Just kidding. My adoptive mother, Susan, was gravely ill. I'd returned with my daughter, Anna, to spend her final month with her. While waiting at the airport for my friend to pick us up, boredom got the better of me, and I opened a news app. The headline on the front page was a familiar name, shocking. Two powerhouse families unite as Sinclair heir Vincent and Fiona Swan announce engagement. Vincent and Fiona, a match made in heaven. I lingered on the article for a few seconds, before swiping past it to skim other news. Good for them. Vincent was finally getting his happily ever after with his first love. I wished them well. It had been so many years. Surely he wouldn't still hold a grudge against me, right? As my thoughts wandered, Anna suddenly came running to me, tears streaming down her cheeks. Mommy! She cried. I knelt down, scooping her up into my arms. What's wrong, my darling? Did someone bully you? I asked, my heart aching at the sight of her tear-streaked face. Anna pointed toward the bathroom, where a messy-haired little boy stood bawling his eyes out. He threw water on me and called me a rude little brat. Anna declared angrily. My gaze sharpened. And I was ready to storm over and give that boy a piece of my mind. But then I noticed his disheveled hair, swollen eyes, and how pitifully he was wailing to the man beside him. The boy looked 100 times more miserable than Anna. Right. I almost forgot my daughter's fighting spirit takes after me. She's a champ. Just as I was about to console Anna, my body froze. The man beside the boy. His profile. It looked just like Vincent's. No way. Not here. I quickly shoved on my sunglasses, mask, and hat, then scooped up Anna. Let's go, Anna, I whispered, walking briskly toward the exit. Anna blinked, confused. But, Mommy, Auntie Betty hasn't arrived yet. Why are we leaving so fast? And you haven't punished that bad boy for me. Mommy, I couldn't take it anymore. In the gentlest voice I could muster, I said, Darling, lower your voice, okay? Mommy doesn't want to attract attention here. Anna didn't hear me clearly and tilted her head. What did you say, Mommy? She shouted. Great. Thanks, kid. I broke into a run. But maybe it was just my imagination, or maybe not. I could feel an icy, snake-like gaze fixed on me. Sharp enough to send chills down my spine. Clutching Anna tighter, I muttered to myself, I'm wrapped up like a mummy. Surely no one will recognize me, right? After visiting Susan in the hospital, my friend Betty drove Anna and me to an apartment. Sensing my low spirits, she patted my shoulder and said, Life has its cycles, Teresa. Try to stay positive. Besides, your mom looks like she's in pretty good shape. She pointed at the cozy apartment. This place is vacant for now. You and Anna can stay here. A cleaner comes by every Monday to tidy up. I smiled gratefully. Thank you so much, Betty. Anna, always the little charmer, circled around Betty and then threw her arms around her legs. Auntie Betty is the best. I like you the most. Betty laughed. Her heart clearly warmed. She ruffled Anna's hair and turned to me. My sister's kindergarten is hosting an art festival tomorrow afternoon. It's close by. Why don't you take Anna? They say it's great for kids' creativity. Since we didn't have any plans, and Anna was always full of energy, I quickly agreed. The next day, following Betty's directions, I took Anna to the kindergarten. The place wasn't large, but it had a lovely charm, with teachers explaining everything to the parents. Anna's bright and cheerful personality made it easy for her to blend in with the other kids. After ensuring that she was safe, I gave her a few simple instructions and headed across the street to a coffee shop for a quick break. I had just paid for my coffee when my phone buzzed with an unfamiliar number. Curious, I answered. Hello? There was no response. A faint sense of unease crept over me. Just as I was about to hang up, a low, gravelly male voice came through. The words, laced with suppressed anger and chilling intent, slithered out like a predator's growl. Found you, Teresa. I froze. The voice. His voice. My blood ran cold as the name fell from his lips. Teresa. Panic surged through me, and I immediately hung up. Vincent, how? Why? Wasn't he busy planning his grand wedding? Did he really have time to deal with this? With no time to waste, I abandoned my coffee and bolted for the kindergarten, desperate to grab Anna and leave. But just as I stepped out of the coffee shop, 5 or 6 black-suited bodyguards materialized and surrounded me. The lead bodyguard gestured toward a luxury car parked nearby and inclined his head politely. Miss Teresa. The young master is waiting for you in the car. Outnumbered and cornered, I quickly realized that calling for help would be futile. Under their watchful eyes, I inched reluctantly toward the car. But as soon as I got close, I feigned compliance before breaking into a sprint toward the open space beside it. I almost made it. Almost. The car door swung open forcefully. Vincent stepped out, impeccably dressed in a tailored suit, his tall frame casting an imposing shadow. In one smooth motion, he grabbed my wrist and yanked me back effortlessly. He towered over me, his gaze icy as he spoke in a tone that could freeze the air around us. Run. Let's see how far you think you can go. At that moment, my brain betrayed me by conjuring lines straight out of those domineering CEO romance novels. She ran. He chased. She had nowhere to hide. The absurdity of the situation made me chuckle involuntarily. Vincent's cold eyes snapped to mine. His voice was sharp. Go on. Laugh. Why stop now? I pursed my lips, wisely deciding to keep quiet. His mouth curved into a humorless smirk as he tightened his grip and began dragging me toward the car. I couldn't guess what he was planning. But I did know one thing: there was a ticking time bomb inside that kindergarten. If Vincent discovered Anna, it would spell disaster. With that thought, I made a split-second decision and climbed into the car voluntarily. Anna cannot appear in front of Vincent, absolutely not. Seeing me climb into the car so readily, Vincent frowned deeply. Teresa, what game are you playing now? Before I could respond, the car door suddenly flew open. A small figure in a superhero mask launched herself straight at Vincent with impressive determination. At the same time, Anna's voice rang out, loud and clear, villain. How dare you bully Princess Mommy? Night Anna will destroy you. Anna was already on top of Vincent, flailing her tiny fists at him. After a few moments of relentless attacks, Vincent remained utterly unscathed, not even a hair out of place. Meanwhile, my heart practically leapt into my throat. My darling daughter, why are you here? And those bodyguards, how could they let a little girl waltz up and open the car door so easily? Fired. All of them. I felt the blood drain from my face. Vincent's expression darkened further as he caught Anna's fists mid-swing. Sensing trouble, Anna let out a war cry before dashing out of the car. "Don't worry, Princess Mommy. I'll call my sidekick to save you." Her bravery was both touching and laughable, but my nerves were shot. The lighting inside the car was dim, so Vincent most likely hadn't gotten a clear look at Anna's face. Summoning my courage, I looked up at him and spoke softly. "I'll explain everything that happened before. But Vincent, could you let me out first? My daughter's waiting for me outside." However, my words seemed to strike a nerve. Vincent suddenly leaned closer, his hand gripping my chin as he ground out through gritted teeth, "Teresa, you've outdone yourself. Left the country for a few years, and now you have a daughter this big?" At that moment, I was certain Vincent didn't think Anna could possibly be his child. Under his cold gaze, I decided to pour fuel on the fire. Summoning every ounce of audacity, I lied through my teeth. "Yes, I got married. Please respect that." I added with feigned conviction, "My husband and I are very happy together. We're a loving fam." Before I could finish, Vincent yanked me into his arms. His tone laced with dangerous amusement. "And how do you know that I don't prefer married women?" I was stunned speechless. "Vincent, what kind of crazy game are you playing now?" Before I could process his words, the car door opened again. There was Anna, standing with her hands on her hips and barking orders at a little boy trailing behind her. "It's that bad guy. He bullied my mommy. Go and beat him up for me." The boy took one look at Vincent, stepped back cautiously, and called out awkwardly, "Uncle." Vincent, unfazed, gave a slight nod. I blinked in disbelief. It was the same little boy from the airport. Only later did I learn the full story. Vincent had been tasked by his cousin to pick up her son from school. By sheer coincidence, he had spotted me along the way. Life truly has a way of serving up ridiculous coincidences. Vincent brought Anna and me to his villa. After all these years, the place hadn't changed a bit. Even my old room remained exactly the same. As I wandered through the familiar spaces, Vincent sneered, "I didn't bother changing the decor because I was too lazy." "Don't overthink it." I raised an eyebrow. "What are you so defensive about?" Anna, on the other hand, was far from comfortable. In this unfamiliar environment, she clung tightly to my hand, her wary eyes fixed on Vincent as she declared, "Bad uncle, don't you dare try to separate me and mommy." Vincent stared at her in silence for a moment. Clearly, he wasn't about to argue with a child. Instead, he snapped his fingers. Almost immediately, a group of young, cheerful maids appeared, pushing a cart laden with desserts, snacks, and toys. With warm smiles, they twirled in their dresses and addressed Anna sweetly. "Miss Anna, would you like to play house with us? We've already prepared an afternoon tea party for you in the garden." I couldn't help but think, wow, they really know how to win over a kid. But this tactic proved effective. Even Anna, a child so mature for her age, couldn't resist it. She swallowed nervously and looked at me for help. I patted her head and whispered, "Go ahead, darling." Although Anna kept looking back hesitantly, her excited and happy expression gave her away. She loved playing house more than anything. Once Anna left, Vincent and I finally had the chance to talk about something more adult. Though I had no idea what he was planning, I went straight to the point. "Vincent, you're about to marry your first love, so let go of the past. Although I took your mother's 30 million before I left." Vincent froze. A look of disbelief crossed his handsome face as he interrupted me. "Who said I'm getting married? Teresa, do you think everyone can just throw away their past and move on to the next one like you did?" Realization dawned on him, and his eyebrows furrowed even more as his gaze darkened. "Wait a minute. You took 30 million from my mom? What? He didn't know about this?" I was in trouble now. I had just blurted everything out. Vincent was clearly furious. His jaw tightened, and after a moment, he gave me a chilling smile. "Teresa, what are you going to do to pay back this 30 million? Suddenly, I was burdened with an enormous debt. My pupil shrank in shock. "Mr. Sinclair, I know you're angry, but please don't be. The money was voluntarily given by your mother." Hearing this, Vincent gave me a sly glance, his voice hoarse. how can you prove it was my mother's voluntary gift? What if she was tricked by you? What a crafty look. Before I could defend myself, Vincent looked down at me, his lips curling into a mocking smile. Based on the previous payment of $50,000 a month, for $30 million, you'll have to stay with me for at least 4 years. Teresa. If you're unwilling, I don't mind using some forceful methods. I wanted to say something, but Vincent clearly wasn't the innocent, easy-to-deceive boy from years ago. Now, he was an upgraded version of a domineering CEO, exuding a dangerous aura from every inch of his body. Vincent didn't even give me the option to refuse. He seemed to have something to deal with, leaving only one instruction. Be sensible and wait for me in the villa. And with that, he turned and left. I wasn't about to just give in. Instead, I immediately called Mrs. Lucy. At this moment, I firmly believed we were allies in this. Sure enough, Mrs. Lucy picked up the phone immediately. I quickly explained the situation. Madam, your son has locked me in the villa. Please send someone to help me. Unexpectedly, she sighed, Miss Teresa. Your information is outdated. Fiona and Vincent are long over. I was mistaken before, thinking they would fall in love, but actually, Fiona has had a boyfriend for quite some time. Is there anything else? If not, I'll hang up. I was stunned for a moment, then I pulled out my trump card. Madam, you don't want your handsome, wealthy son to be tied up with me, a failure, right? Upon hearing this, Mrs. Lucy responded calmly. I can't control my son anymore. Let him fall into the abyss of love with you. And she quickly hung up the phone. I was left speechless. After I regained my senses, I immediately tried calling Mrs. Lucy again. After 3 consecutive calls were dropped, I suddenly received 2 messages. One was an email from the bank, notifying me that my account had received $10 million. The other was a message from Lucy, enough. Stop bothering me. The first one warmed my heart, while the second one left me feeling cold. I opened my bank account balance in a daze, and then I laughed sadly. Forget it, staying here for a few days doesn't really matter. It's not because the money has been transferred, though. That night, Anna and I slept in the same room. My daughter must have been tired from playing in the afternoon because she quickly fell asleep in my arms. I kept my eyes closed, but sleep didn't come easily. In my dream, I was hiding with Anna, but we were still caught by a fierce beast. The beast snatched Anna away and then kicked me aside. I cried out, begging him not to take her. Shouting for my daughter back. But the beast twisted his mouth into an evil grin. Teresa, maybe you should think about who I am and what your position is. The gap between our classes is too wide. When I'm done with you, I'll kick you away whenever I want. I'm taking your daughter with me, and from now on, she will only be my daughter. No longer yours. The beast's face gradually merged with Vincent's. I was so scared that I woke up in an instant. I felt the soft, fragrant warmth in my arms. Only then did I let out a heavy sigh. Thank goodness, Anna was still there. I stared at my daughter's sleeping face for a while, and realizing I couldn't fall back asleep, I decided to go downstairs for a glass of water. However, just as I reached the bottom of the stairs, the lights in the living room suddenly turned on. The butler was helping the red-faced Vincent into the room. When he saw me, he seemed to have found a lifeline. Miss Teresa. Young master is drunk. He has been calling your name the whole way here. He's refused to let anyone come near, so could you please help him to his room? I'll go prepare some tea for him. I didn't want to get involved, but when I saw how awkward the butler looked, I immediately understood his predicament. I nodded. As soon as Vincent touched me, he, who had been struggling, suddenly went quiet and obediently rested his arm on me. The butler smiled in relief, but I felt a sharp weight on my neck and almost stumbled. Was he always this heavy? It took me a lot of effort to get Vincent onto the bed, and I was gasping for breath. Looking down, I saw that Vincent had his eyes closed, comfortably lying on the bed. Thinking of the dream just now, I sneered and secretly pinched his arm with my nails. But I'm not sure if I pinched too hard. Vincent groaned and immediately opened his eyes. I panicked a little and quickly tried to soothe him with feigned concern. Mr. Sinclair, are you feeling unwell? Would you like to take a bath first? Vincent obediently nodded. I helped him into the bathroom, reminding him, "Go ahead and wash up. I'll stay outside and wait for you." After closing the door, I sat on the bed, carefully listening to the sounds from the bathroom. I was afraid he might faint suddenly. At that moment, there was a knock at the door. The butler had come to deliver tea. I took the cup from him and had just closed the door when I suddenly felt a strong force at my waist. Turning around, I saw Vincent, covered in steam, his black hair still dripping with water. Obviously just out of the shower. He was only wearing a towel around his waist, and his solid chest pressed against my back, the scene powerful and intense. I heard his deep, almost pleading voice, "Teresa, are you trying to run again?" I didn't have time to speak and quickly steadied the cup in my hand. Fortunately, I almost spilled it all over my face. Not getting any response from me, Vincent went completely wild. He pulled me tightly into his embrace, his tone desperate and restrained. "For years ago, wasn't it because of money that you heartlessly abandoned me? So why come back now? Teresa, don't tell me you think I still have feelings for you. That's impossible. Right now, you don't attract me at all. Why won't you speak? Ex-girlfriend, say something. I want to know. On all those nights I drank myself to sleep because I was heartbroken over you. What were you doing? Were you fooling around with other men? Forget it, I don't want to hear it. After all, I've kept myself for you these 4 years, and your daughter is already over 3 years old. I'll never smile and chat with you again. Because I've cried all my tears for you these past 4 years." I was stunned. I didn't know whether I should hand him the tea. Vincent, however, was still lost in his own world. He lowered his eyes, choking up a little. "All these years, you've raised Anna by yourself. It must have been tough for you, especially since you're such a fragile person." I knew it, the men out there are all unreliable. Just after money and sex. Only someone as pure as you could fall for it. Anna's got your personality, quirky and clever, just the kind of child you'd raise. Don't get me wrong, I didn't mean I want Anna to change her surname. Many people are after me, and what I mean is, I have a lot of choices, so I never really wanted to be her dad. Yes, I'm breaking down. I can't help but feel sad when I think about how such a wonderful woman isn't my wife. How such a wonderful daughter isn't my daughter. I'm so heartbroken, I just want to jump off the roof. Seeing him becoming more and more incoherent, I raised my weak hand and reminded him, "The tea will get cold." Vincent immediately fell silent when he noticed the cup in my hand. I was so shaken by what had just said that I didn't know what to say. Vincent wrapped his arms around my waist and whispered, "Teresa, I'll never drink anything you give me again." Thinking back to the cup of water from years ago, I cleared my throat and said, lacking confidence, "This one has nothing added to it, really, I'm not lying." He responded quietly, "Then you drink it first." Without hesitation, I took a sip. The next moment, my chin was gripped by 2 slender fingers. Vincent leaned down, his cool lips kissed the corner of my mouth. Their lips and teeth intertwined. And his clear breath instantly enveloped me. Dazed and confused, I felt my brain deprived of oxygen, my head spinning from the kiss. The tea in my hand was placed aside. In its place was the sensation of his hand, fingers interlocked with mine. I wasn't sure how we had gone from drinking tea to this indescribable situation. I opened my eyes, struggling to keep the last bit of my rationality intact. "Vincent, wait. I don't want to." Vincent gently held my fingertips, guiding my hand to his defined abs, slowly caressing them. His eyes were clouded with desire, his warm breath brushing my ear, carrying an enticing scent. "Teresa, you really don't want this?" In the face of such beauty, I was completely entranced, unable to speak a word of rejection. I don't know how long it had been. Suddenly, there was a wet mark on my neck. Like large droplets of tears falling down. Lost in the haze, I heard Vincent's low, pleading voice, "Teresa, don't leave me again, please? I'll go crazy." The consequences of one passionate night were that when I woke up the next morning, my whole body ached. I had just opened the door when I heard a burst of cheerful laughter. Looking up, I saw Vincent in the living room, playing with Anna and building blocks. He must have said something that made Anna laugh so happily. The little one, quick-eyed, immediately noticed me. Anna pushed the blocks aside and ran straight toward me, shouting, "Mummy!" I caught her, lifting her up and spinning her in the air. Vincent also stood up. A trace of tenderness flashed in his eyes as he spoke softly. "Anna says she wants to go to the amusement park. Teresa, you go have breakfast first, and after that, we'll take her there." Unlike his mature appearance when we first met yesterday, Vincent was now dressed in casual home clothes, looking very much like a devoted husband and father. Looking at the cute little daughter in my arms, I strangely felt like I was part of a beautiful family. But honestly, I didn't know how to face the current state of our relationship. Thinking about the nightmare from last night, I stood still and gently said, "It's okay, you go take care of work. I'll take care of Anna." Hearing this, Vincent lowered his long eyelashes, his expression turning cold. "Do you think what I said yesterday was a lie? Work can wait. To me, what matters most are your and Anna's needs." I bit my lip. Just as the atmosphere was about to freeze, Anna whispered in my ear, "Mummy, let him go. That way we'll have an extra person to carry bags and do photography." As she spoke, a mischievous smile appeared on Anna's face. I helplessly ruffled her hair and reluctantly agreed. Vincent's eyes lit up. As soon as we entered the amusement park, Anna couldn't wait to go on the roller coaster. She had always been bold and loved thrilling rides. Although I had a slight fear of heights, I didn't want to spoil the fun, so I reluctantly agreed. Vincent noticed my unease. He glanced at me and said softly, "If you're scared, just scream. It's fine." I forced a calm expression and replied, "Don't you remember? I'm very brave." Vincent lazily smiled. Not responding. The roller coaster started. Anna laughed excitedly. I, on the other hand, shut my eyes tight, trying to clear my mind. Finally, as the roller coaster plunged downward, I couldn't hold it anymore and screamed out loud. Vincent let out a light chuckle. He actually laughed at me. I angrily pinched his arm several times. When the ride ended, Vincent's arm was red from where I'd pinched him. Anna, confused, asked, "Uncle, what happened to your arm? Did a bug bite you?" Vincent glanced at me and smirked. "Yeah, it wouldn't leave me alone. That bug was pretty fierce." Embarrassed by my childish behavior, I lowered my head, unsure of what to say. When I looked up again, I noticed Anna had already dragged Vincent to the haunted house queue. "Oh no. That's the thing I'm most afraid of." Anna made a heart shape with her hands and then winked at me playfully. "Mummy, if you're scared, you can wait outside for Anna." Vincent, carrying her small backpack, chimed in, "Of course not. Your mummy is the bravest." Hearing his mocking tone, I clenched my fists. A woman mustn't back down. Anyway, the haunted house is just fake. What's there to be afraid of? With that thought, I rushed into the haunted house. Only to be greeted by a ghost with disheveled hair and a face covered in blood. I was so frightened that I turned and ran, leaping into Vincent's arms, clutching his neck tightly. After screaming for a while, I opened my eyes. I saw Anna chasing a ghost around with a stick she'd somehow found. "Ghost sister, don't run, come play with me." Seeing this, Vincent raised an eyebrow. "Anna's personality is really completely different from yours." I felt a bit embarrassed and jumped off him, turning to walk away. But after taking a few steps, a pale-faced zombie suddenly appeared in front of me. I screamed wildly and jumped back into Vincent's arms. The zombie, seeing this, hopped away. I glared at Vincent, clearly irritated. "How come you're not scared at all?" Vincent lowered his gaze at me, his tone nonchalant. "If I were scared, how could I protect you?" Unexpectedly, his answer made my heart skip a beat. Just then, I felt my body lift, and my vision spun. Vincent held me securely in his arms, his gaze dark. "If you're scared, close your eyes. I'll carry you out." I hesitated for a moment, then obediently pressed my cheek against his chest. I had to admit, it really did make me feel safer. By the end of the day, we had pretty much gone through all the attractions in the amusement park. I noticed that Vincent truly cared for Anna, always going along with whatever she wanted. And Anna, full of energy, didn't stop laughing the entire time. While Vincent went to buy ice cream, I squatted down and seriously asked Anna, "Sweetheart, do you like Uncle Vincent?" Anna took a bite of sweet cotton candy and nodded, saying, "Yes." I bit my lip, my voice a little dry. "Then, if Uncle Vincent were to be Anna's daddy, would you like that?" Anna shook her head, firmly hugging my neck. "I only want Mummy, just you." I rubbed her face, half joking, "Really? But didn't you just say you really liked Uncle Vincent?" At my words, Anna quickly finished the cotton candy and wiped her mouth with a napkin. She glanced around cautiously, then pulled a bank card from her overalls and handed it to me. "Mummy, I know you love money. And Uncle Vincent is naive but has plenty of it. You can't just find a guy like him. Look, I just flattered him a bit, and Uncle Vincent gave me this card. I'm going to use the money inside to buy you a big house." Looking at the bank card in my hand, I couldn't help but laugh. I had thought Anna was easily won over by her real dad, but it turned out she was much cleverer, hiding her mischievous thoughts. Anna asked, smiling, then, "Does Mummy like Uncle Vincent?" I felt a bit embarrassed, responding subtly, "Sweetheart, why are you asking about that?" "Mummy, I can tell by the way you look at him." Nothing escapes little Detective Anna's eyes. Anna made a cool gesture as if wearing a hat and added, "If Mummy likes Uncle Vincent, you should go for it and try it out." Before I could reply, she jumped into my arms, acting cute, "But you still have to love me the most. If I see that you like him more than me, then I won't like him anymore. I'll put him on my assassin Anna's hit list." My heart melted. How smart and adorable my daughter is. At that moment, Anna waved her hand towards the distance and shouted, "Uncle Vincent, we're here." I looked up and saw Vincent walking toward us, carrying a small backpack, a teddy bear and balloon in one hand, and 2 ice creams in the other. The sunlight shone on his delicate, handsome profile, casting a faint golden glow that made it hard to look away. Vincent jogged over, handing the ice creams to Anna and me. He urged us to eat quickly, as they were about to melt. He was so familiar with everything, as though we were just a normal family of 3. The moment our eyes met, my cheeks uncontrollably flushed. So, I pretended to look at the scenery, turning my gaze elsewhere. The next day, I went to the hospital again. Susan was delighted to see Anna and me. She struggled to sit up and chatted with us for a long time. To cheer Susan up, Anna showed her many photos on my phone. "Grandma, this is a photo of me and Mummy skiing. Skiing is so much fun. This one is a photo of Mummy teaching me how to swim." As Susan listened, she nodded repeatedly, smiling with boundless affection. Seeing Anna and Teresa doing well makes me feel at ease. When we flipped to the picture from the amusement park yesterday, Susan suddenly squinted and pointed at Vincent in the photo, saying, "This young man looks a bit familiar." I was a little surprised. "Really? Mum, have you met him?" To prevent Susan from worrying, I claimed I worked as an accountant in a company and had gone abroad for overseas trade. Susan thought for a moment and said, "Wasn't I just divorced from him not long ago? But he kept coming to ask me for money, and I didn't tell you to spare you from worrying. There was one time when he was drunk and came to the house, smashing things. This young man in the photo happened to pass by and helped knock him out. After that, he never came back to bother me." The he Susan referred to was my scumbag adoptive father, Mike. I was an orphan and was adopted by this couple when I was 8. At first, everything was harmonious at home, but soon Mike developed a gambling habit and began abusing both me and Susan. Susan was weak and didn't dare to resist. Later, after I was hospitalized for the 4th time due to Mike's abuse, Susan finally gathered the courage to divorce him. Mike refused. So Susan moved us to a new place and filed for divorce. I thought he had given up on looking for us, but it turned out Vincent had investigated my background and quietly helped me deal with that scumbag. Susan continued, "Do you remember a year ago when I fell? It was this young man who took me to the hospital and even arranged a caregiver for me. I wanted to pay him, but he refused to accept it." I gasped in surprise. Due to the time difference and distance, even though I often called Susan and checked in on her, my ability to help was limited. I had thought Susan had met a kind person, but it turned out Vincent had been silently taking care of my family behind the scenes. Seeing my changing expressions, Susan tentatively asked, "Teresa, is this young man your boyfriend?" She glanced at Anna, who was playing a game, and lowered her voice. "I notice he and Anna bear a resemblance. Be honest with me, is he Anna's biological father?" I hesitated, unsure how to describe this complicated relationship. Susan sighed, "Teresa, I know. Because of that scumbag's violent nature and my weakness, you've always been afraid of close relationships. Even though you've had many suitors, you've never considered love or marriage. Because you've been hurt too many times. As a mother, I really hope you can let go of the past and try to start a new family. However, whatever you choose in the end, I will support you. Teresa, all I want is for you and Anna to be happy." I was left speechless, tears welling up. Susan was right. I really don't believe in love, I only believe in money. So, despite how well Vincent treated me, when I found out he might be arranged for a marriage, I immediately stepped back without hesitation. The gap in our social classes gave me many concerns. The bad memories from my childhood made me develop an avoidant attachment personality. I couldn't risk my emotions on a man's conscience, especially not a powerful man. When I discovered I was pregnant, my first reaction was panic, wanting to terminate the pregnancy. But then, I remembered what Mike used to say to me, "You're a worthless girl. Better off being aborted in your belly." My childhood was so miserable, why shouldn't I let my child have a better life? After meeting Mrs. Lucy, I became even more determined in my decision. I have money and looks, Vincent is a good candidate for sperm donation, and the child we'd have together would have great genes. Since I'm pregnant, it must be fate that the heavens have bestowed upon me and my child. I wanted to raise this child on my own. Sure enough, after Anna was born, she brought me so much joy. Once, she sat in the grass with a toy gun and softly called me, "Mummy, come here." I thought she wasn't feeling well, so I rushed over and asked, "What's wrong, baby? Are you uncomfortable?" But Anna just hugged my neck, kissed me several times, and mumbled, "I just want to kiss Mummy." In that moment, I couldn't hold back, and my eyes welled up. I thought to myself, I am the happiest person in the world. My daughter has never been a burden to me. My daughter is my redemption, my everything. I used all my strength to fulfill Anna's every request, as if compensating for the childhood that I had lost. When I reunited with Vincent, I was incredibly afraid he would find out the truth and take Anna away from me. But through these few days together, I could clearly feel myself wavering. Vincent truly seemed to love me. Even before knowing Anna was his biological daughter, he treated her as his own, and it didn't seem like he was pretending. So, could I try to respond to him? So many years had already passed. I didn't want to miss another opportunity with Vincent. The doctor's face grew increasingly serious as he continued, "Young master, we've known each other for so many years. May I ask, has Miss Teresa returned?" Vincent replied softly. The doctor sighed heavily, "Ever since Miss Teresa came back, your health has shown improvement. Ultimately, I believe what you truly need to treat is not just your physical ailments, but your heart. You should try to win Miss Teresa over, get her to reconsider and stay by your side. Miss Teresa is the only cure for you." The doctor then gave a long list of advice, before picking up his medical bag and preparing to leave. As he reached the door, he saw me standing there. There was a brief pause before he politely greeted me and quickly left. I pushed the door open and entered. Vincent froze for a moment. His lips tightened. And he said with some frustration, "Teresa, how much did you hear?" "I heard everything." I sat on the desk, tilted my head, and looked at him with dissatisfaction. "Is this how you've been taking care of yourself after I left?" Vincent turned his head away, not looking at me, his voice cold. "You wouldn't understand." He sniffed, his tone filled with resentment. "The day you disappeared, I searched the whole of M City, but no matter how deep I looked, I couldn't find you. Later, I found out you went abroad, to a place I couldn't reach. At that point, I was devastated. I thought, since you abandoned me, what does it matter if I'm unwell? No one cares." I reached up to Vincent's handsome face, softening my tone. "How could that be? Health is everything. You see, you still ended up seeing a doctor." But suddenly, Vincent seized my wrist and pulled me into his embrace. His hot breath landed heavily on the top of my head, tinged with a hint of frustration. Every month, I spread the news about my serious illness to lure you back. Yet, you never once came to visit me. Teresa, you're so heartless. Later, I realized that rather than waiting for your conscience to catch up, I should focus on getting better and taking control of the Sinclair family's power. That way, even if you flew to Antarctica, there'd be no escape. I remembered someone had sent me a message about Vincent being ill. But the person sent the same message every few days, which made it seem like a scam. I was cautious and immediately blocked the number. But I didn't dare tell Vincent that, or he'd be furious. To calm him down, I decided to give him a little surprise, so I gently led the conversation. Vincent, don't you think Anna looks a bit like you? A flash of confusion crossed Vincent's eyes. Then, as if realizing something, his eyes widened. Under my expectant gaze, he spoke slowly. You missed me so much while abroad that you found my substitute and had Anna with him? I knelt on his lap, sighed, and said helplessly, usually. You seem so smart. How come you're so clueless when it comes to feelings? Luckily, our daughter isn't like you. Not all love-struck. Vincent finally reacted. He stared at me, his eyes never blinking, and the emotions in them slowly deepened. Are you saying that Anna is our biological daughter? I nodded seriously. Vincent's breath immediately quickened. His deep, dark eyes shone brightly. So intensely that I couldn't bring myself to meet his gaze. I closed my eyes, preparing for an intimate kiss. But after waiting for what seemed like an eternity, all I heard was his murmured words, I can't believe the bastard I've been cursing all along was actually me. I couldn't hold back any longer and whispered coquettishly in his ear, Idiot, why are you frozen? Kiss me. Okay. Vincent responded in a hoarse voice and placed a kiss on my lips. He raised his eyes to look at me, his expression soft, his gaze focused and tender, as if treating me like a precious, fragile jewel. My heart began to beat wildly. Teresa. I don't ask for anything else. I only hope you'll stay by my side. Vincent took my hand and gently placed it on his cheek. His grip was light but incredibly firm. Only when you look at me does my existence have meaning. You were never my kept bird, Teresa. You are my everything. I will love you forever. As he spoke, Vincent's eyes reddened. I kept his face in my hands and bent down to kiss away his tears. And I solemnly promised him, Vincent, I love you too. Life is full of missed opportunities and regrets. But thankfully, this time I saw through my own heart in advance. In the end, having our little family live a good life together is the most important thing. After all, the